guys, it's me, Kate again. So this video is my journal book haul. There are a lot of books and I'm not even sure these are all of them because I haven't filmed book haul since December and I know that I shoved some books somewhere. I cannot find them for the life of me. So let's go. Out of all of these books, I only know the first one that I got and the last one that I got, because the first one that I got actually is waiting since December to be called, and that's Death Note Volume 1 by Tsugumi Ohba and Takeshi Obata. In it we are following Light Aigami, who one day finds a Death Note, which is this notebook where you can write the person's name and then they die, basically. But you can also write the specific way and the specific time when they die, and thus he starts to kill off a lot of criminals. But when law enforcement figures out that like a lot of their criminals are dying randomly, they figure out something must be happening and are trying to catch Aigami. And this basically the race between him and Elle, who is like this person who is the best, like in figuring as a detective ever, but it's basically the race. And now we get into a part of the video when my tendency not to peel off the prices of the books before I do book haul gets an applause, because I wouldn't know that I can hold these two books if it wasn't for the price on the back, and that's why I think I can't hold some others, because I'm pretty sure that there are not only two books that I hold in last half a year that still have prices on them. The first of the books that I got in the middle of that one, and the rest that I know when I got, actually, no, it's four books. I'm sorry, not two, but four. First is Amari and the Great Game by B.B. Lawson, which is equal to Amari and the Night Brothers, in which we're following Amari, whose brother went missing and 6 months ago, I think, and she's the only one still holding out hope that he's alive. And one day while going through his closet, she finds a briefcase addressed to her, with an envelope addressed to her, and turns out her brother nominated her for becoming a part of Bureau of Supernatural Affairs, and stuff goes from there, because she's trying to infiltrate it to find out what's happened to her brother. Then we have The Atlas Paradox by Olivia Blake, which is equal to Atlas 6, in which following 6 magicians who have been invited by this secret society called Alexandrian Society, whose sole purpose is to preserve the knowledge of Alexandria in the library. Not the modern one, the one that burned down a long time ago. And all of 6 of them will be there for a year, but only 5 of them can advance, and stuff goes from there. And then we have Bright by Jessica Young, in which is equal to Shiny, in which we are following 17-year-old Rachel Kim, who is a K-pop trainee, and if her label doesn't debut her now, they probably never will. And now, when the opportunity presents itself for her to sing on duet with her labels, well, lo and behold, she's determined to get it. And in this one, we're following her 5 years later when she's part of a #1 K-pop group in the world. And then we have The House of Cerulean Sea by DJ Clone, in which we're following Linus Baker, who is a caseworker that deals with these orphanages for magical children. And one day he's sent to the orphanage where most dangerous kids reside, and stuff goes from there. And now we're getting into the books that I got really recently, like literally 2 days ago. First we have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. In it we are following the guy, Victor Frankenstein, who is a scientist and decides to make a person of the dead, parts of dead bodies. And when lightning strikes, it comes alive, and it's ridiculous. I don't know the full story. I know what I watch on in cartoons, but I'll read what it says on the back. It says, what you create can destroy you. One freezing morning, a lone man wandering across the Arctic ice caps is rescued from starvation by a ship's captain. Victor Frankenstein's story is one of ambition, murder, and revenge. As a young scientist, he pushed moral boundaries in order to cross the final frontier and create life. But his creation is a monster stitched together from grey-robbed body parts who have no place in the world, and his life can only lead to the tragedy. And we'll see what's happening here. And I usually buy these edition of classics mostly because they're ridiculously cheap, and basically I can buy like 5 these for price of one of these additional books. So they're ridiculously cheap, and they're not the prettiest editions ever, but it is what it is. Let's go on to further novels before we get into manga. Yeah, there's more manga in this video. Let's go with this one. Then we have this one, which is Heatwave by DJ Clone, which is third book in Extraordinary series, in which we're following Nick, who is obsessed with extraordinaries, which are people with powers, and they're superheroes and supervillains, and he wants to become one. And he also writes fan fiction about them, and it's ridiculous. And I cannot believe it's third book in a series. Then we have another mismatched edition of the book in this series, and that's The Nobleman's Guide to Scandal and Shipwrecks, which is their book to following book to Gentleman's Guide to Violence and Virtue in that series. This is a prequel, which is third book, and there's also a novella. But in this one, we're following the gnome, who in the first book was just a baby, and basically, I don't know what the hell will be happening in here, but in the first one I'm following Monty, who is just about to go onto his grand tour with his best friend Monty, Percy, who he may or may not be in love with, and his little sister Felicity. And this one is following their Monty and Felicity's youngest brother, who is Monty is referring to as the gnome, and the blurb on the back says, Adrian Montague has a bright future, but most the young lords aren't battling the debilitating anxiety he secretly lives with. In the wake of his mother's unexpected death, a newly found keepsake of hers, a piece of broken spyglass, sets Adrian in pursuit of older siblings he never knew he had, and on dangerous adventure filled with coastal legends and the long-held family curse. And what the hell? Like, there's always a map of where journey leads him on. And literally it has it literally has notations. For example, it has questions to ask Monty. What's your middle name? How long have you lived in London? Why does everyone call you Monty? Do you know about the stupid nickname? What a stupid nickname that is? Why didn't I know you existed? And we'll see what will happen there. Then we have A Storm of Sisters by Michelle Harrison, which is fourth book in A Pinch of Magic series, in which we are following three sisters, Charlie, Betty, and Fliss, whose family is cursed, so the women of the family can never leave the island they live on, which doesn't sit well with the middle sister, Betty, who just wants to go off the island and have an adventure. And so they embark on the adventure to break the curse. And that goes from there. And then the last novel that I have here, but not the last thing that I hold, is so this is Ever After by F.T. Lukens. In it we're following basically the guy who was destined to kill the guy ruling the king that was ruling over their country, which was like the Dark Lord, let's say. But and this is what happens after. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry, my leg is cramping up, so. Then I have volume 2 of Death Note. I already told you what that was about, so we'll get on with the last 2 volumes of manga. I had to restrain myself to buy only this one and these other 2, and not to buy entirety of Food Wars. First we have Candy Color Paradox by Isaku Natsume, in which are following 2 guys and their romance, I think. And it says on the back, Satoshi One takes pride in the good writing and ethical reporting he does in his job at a weekly magazine. But when takeout steamers shuffled around, he ends up being paired up with Motaro Kaburagi, a male-mannered photographer who is nothing but trouble. One despises Kaburagi's haphazard and unethical reporting methods and to bicker constantly, but One's annoyance begins to shift as he spends more time with Kaburagi and his feelings turn a bit sweeter. That's it. And the last thing that I have to call is Escape Journey by Retsu Tanaka. Also, it's a romance between two guys, and in this one, it's Natoro's first day of college, and the last person he expected to see was his high school ex Taichi, whom he dumped after a huge argument. Even though years have passed, Naoto finds he still steamed over some of the harsh words that were exchanged, but he also recognizes how much Taichi has matured since then and can help getting pulled back in. Will the discovery of his friend's crush on Taichi free the fragile threads of this mending relationship? So we'll see. That's it for this video. If you like it, please like, share, and subscribe. Down below you have my social media, my email, and some other stuff, and I'll see you next one.